guys, welcome back to my channel, An Aesthetic Nurse. Today's video is going to be all about my top 6 tips so that you can rock your CRNA admissions interview. If you're interested, then keep on watching. Tip number 1. My very first tip would definitely have to be, do not underestimate the importance of this interview. And I think that is one thing that made me excel in my interviews. One of my interviews were about an hour and a half away from where I live. I left the house at about 5 o'clock to make it to my 7:30 interview. And at 5:18, I got in a car accident, totaled my car on the interstate with 2 18-wheelers. My husband came, we filed a claim, I got a rental car, and I drove back to Birmingham that same day to make it to the afternoon interviews. This interview was very important to me. This interview was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and that is why I'm telling you guys, my tip number 1 is to not underestimate this interview. If you don't want it for yourself, no one else can want it for you. You need to want this, you need to be prepared, you need to just know the importance, because I feel like step 1 is pretty much preparing yourself mentally for what's about to happen. So mentally prepare for this interview, understand the importance, and know that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and treat it as such. That is tip number 1. Step number 2 is do your research. Learn about the school that you're applying to. Learn about their passing scores. Learn about the amount of arterial line insertions, central lines that you're going to get. Know what time the interview starts. Know what kind of interview it'll be, whether it be one-on-one with faculty, or maybe you walk into a room and it's a whole board of faculty members interviewing you. Do your research. I feel like the more you know about the interview, it'll put your mind at ease, and you will just have a better chance of excelling. I went on allnurses.com, like I mentioned in my previous videos. You can find the interview styles, the time it took for those interviews, whether or not there were current SRNAs on the board that were interviewing you. We have so much access to information these days in 2019. Do your research. The more you know, like I said, the less stress I feel like. You'll be more at ease, and you'll know exactly what to prepare for. So that is my step number 2. Tip number 3 would definitely have to be practice for your interview. This may sound extremely insane, but go ahead and print out a list of questions and literally write out a script. Practice in the mirror, hand gestures and all, what you're gonna say when you get in this interview. Do not go in the interview, sounding like a robot, but at least if you practice, you have information in the back of your mind that you can pull from, because you're gonna be nervous as shit. And so it's best to have, just something in the back of your mind to pull from that'll make you more comfortable. And I feel like you will sound way more confident when answering these questions. I will post a link below of Dr. Nurse Nell blog post. She has a list of commonly asked CRNA questions, and I kid you not, right hand on the Bible, I got about 10 of these questions in my interviews. So go ahead and practice. Practice makes perfect, and you just can't go wrong. My tip number 4 would definitely have to be look the part. I went to H&M and I didn't have much money. I went to New York & Company. I went to New York & Company and got me a 2-piece blazer set, and I wore it for both of my interviews. And some of the other candidates from another interview that I went to were at the second interview, and I had on the exact same clothes, and guess what? So did they. So go ahead, get you a 2-piece blazer suit, look the part. People treat you how you look, and it may sound shallow, but that's how our society is. People treat you the way you look. So go ahead and dress the part. Have a leather portfolio binder with all of your certifications in it, just in case they ask. And I'm gonna make a separate video on my portfolio and what exactly that I have in there. But step number 4, and I feel like this is very important, please look the part. They have seen all of your accolades and experience, and you know, they've seen everything on paper, and now it's time for you to show up and show out. It's time for you to look the part, feel the part, prove to them why you deserve to be in their program. It's gonna be a lot of candidates with high-ass GPAs, with tons of certifications, with bomb-ass references. So this is the time for you to set yourself apart. And it may sound shallow, like I said, but if you look the part, you feel the part, and more than likely they will pick you for their program. Step number 5 would be you don't know what you don't know. If they ask you clinical questions, if they ask you about fentanyl, Versed, propofol, if they ask you about Levophed, if they ask you about any medication or clinical scenario and you are not familiar with it, just say you don't know, I don't know, and I would be open to researching the answers to that question and getting back to you. A practitioner that knows it all is a dangerous practitioner, and that is not someone they want in their program. They want to know that you are responsible, that you have integrity, and that you're confident in yourself enough to know that if I don't know, it's okay. It's okay for me to ask questions. It's okay for me to let someone know I don't know, and do the safest thing for the patient, which is to ask for some help. So my step number 5 would definitely have to be you don't know what you don't know. And as far as questions, make sure you study and know your specialty inside and out. If I put on my recommendation that I'm a CCU nurse, they're not gonna ask me about mannitol. They're not gonna ask me about Cushing's triad. They're not gonna ask me about, you know, neuro symptoms or SICU, you know, clinical scenarios. So whatever you put on your resume, make sure it's something that you know about, and make sure you know your specialty and the commonly used drugs inside. My step number 6 would definitely have to be just be prepared for anything. I had someone tell me, oh, the interview was easy, it was fine, they asked me 2 questions and that was it. The interview was nothing like that. Someone else's experience may be completely different from yours, so be prepared for anything. If someone tells you, oh, they didn't ask any clinical questions, they just asked me about like personality-based questions, well, I need you to go ahead and study some clinical questions and just make sure you're prepared for anything. Be prepared for a test. Be prepared to perform CPR. Be prepared to intubate a patient. Be prepared to run a mile and do 50 sit-ups and push-ups. Like, just be prepared for anything. Go in there open-minded. I feel like sometimes expectations lead to disappointment, so if you go in there and you're open-minded, I feel like it'll just alleviate some stress, and your day will just flow better. And I know I said earlier, go on like allnurses.com and see what the interview style is. Yeah, still go ahead and do that, because I feel like you'll be able to narrow and basically like tailor the way you study and practice for this interview. But even if you're doing that, still go in there open-minded, because they can throw anything at you. They are some interviews are more personal, some are more clinical, some are more like mentally challenging. Some people, they deliberately try to stress you out to see how much stress you can handle, because this career field is not going to be easy. So my step number 6, my final step would have to be prepared for anything. If you sat through this entire video, I love you. I appreciate you. Congratulations on receiving an interview for CRNA school. I know I was excited. I was in the airport headed to Miami, and I got the 2 emails literally like within an hour. And I screamed to the top of my lungs in that terminal, and they were looking at me like, what the is going on? I was excited. So congratulations. I know how you feel. Good luck. You will do fine. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Whenever you prepare yourself, I feel like God is going to match you 50-50. He's going to be your side, and he's going to make sure that you excel. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, and I'll see you in my next video. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe.